Thank you all so much for joining us today for the introductory press conference for Coach Kenny Brooks. We'll get started with a brief opening statement from Mitch Barnhart.
Thank you, Cami. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. It's a great day to be a Wildcat. It's wonderful. Great to have everybody here. I'd like to thank a couple people that sort of assisted in the search and walked us through all this journey that's led us to today. And so Rachel Baker and Tiffany Massey, I thank you so much for all you guys did. And as sort of, as we began the search, Rachel walked into the office one day and she says, if I could have one person lead our program, it'd be this guy. And she shows me a video of a press conference where he describes the beauty of the game of women's basketball very vividly after one of their games. It caught my attention about the way he spoke of his players, about the way he spoke of the game and what it meant to him. His demeanor, same on the sidelines as it was in the press conference. Passionate, loving, a care for something that he deeply adored, the game of basketball. And he has done that remarkably well over an amazing career, and I'm going to chronicle a few things that were just impressive as heck as you begin to look at his resume. And most of you have read this. He's our 9th women's basketball coach at Kentucky. Over 500 career wins as a head basketball coach at James Madison, where he's the winningest coach in the history of the school. 180 wins at Virginia Tech, 11 regular season and tournament conference championships, 10 NCAA tournament appearances and 1 Final Four, 6 WNBA draft picks since 2015, 7 total picks, 18 20-win seasons and 22 total seasons as a head coach. Includes 18 20-plus win seasons in his last 19 seasons as a head coach, the lone exception being the COVID year. Guided players to 7 Conference Player of the Year honors. In the last 2 seasons combined, Brooks went 2-0 against Tennessee and 3-0 against Louisville. 4-time CAA Coach of the Year, known best for developing players. And if you've watched any of his teams, he has taken young women from stage to stage to stage in the development of the game to the spot where they succeed at an incredibly high elite level in women's basketball. Graduate of James Madison in 1992, played 4 years under Lefty Driesell. His family, beautiful wife Chrissy, and Kendall, who's not here. I think she's FaceTime. I don't know what she's got going here, where she was trying to FaceTime earlier. We got Chloe, Hunter, son-in-law, Gabby, Kinsley is the granddaughter. Kinsley, raise your hand. There we are, right there. And we're so thrilled to have all of them here. It is an incredible honor to introduce our 9th women's basketball coach at the University of Kentucky, Kenny Brooks.
Thank you, Mitch Barnhart. We'll move now to an opening statement from head coach Kenny Brooks.
Wow, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, but it's an honor to be the head women's basketball coach here at Kentucky. And it sounds surreal, but when you think about Kentucky, you think about basketball. And for me, when I was approached about a situation that could possibly be with Kentucky basketball, I wasn't looking. We had a wonderful thing going. What we did at Virginia Tech, was very, very, very special. And what we did, we created a buzz for women's basketball that is much needed and much deserved. So I was extremely proud about that. And our fight, through those years, we needed to win basketball games, but we needed to bring awareness to women's basketball. And I'm looking forward to that challenge here. I know Big Blue Nation is very passionate about their Wildcats, and I need each and every one of you and your efforts, your support in many, many ways to make this happen here at Kentucky. When I got to Virginia Tech, I felt like it was a sleeping giant. And as I continued to research everything about Kentucky, I know that the academics here are wonderful. I know that the fan base is very passionate. I know that resources will allow you to get to a level where you can compete with anyone. I know it's in the rich history of the SEC and the SEC's leadership and where it's going. You want to be aligned with that to try to create something very, very special. And so when I added all that up, what I came up with was it was going to be a sleeping giant, and it just needs to be awakened. And I'm here, and I'm going to come in here, and we're going to work. As Mitch said, we're going to fight, we're going to develop, but we're going to put a product out there that you are going to be very, very proud of. And I'm not just saying you're going to be proud of them in Memorial, but if you see them in Target, we have Target, right?
Yes.
Okay. You see them in Kroger, wherever you see them, you're going to be able to approach them, and you're going to be very, very proud that they represent the University of Kentucky. And that's how you build a program. That's how you build awareness for women's basketball that these young ladies need and deserve. And when we're able to get to that point, we're going to capitalize on it. So I'm extremely excited to get to work. I cannot wait. I see the young ladies in the second row, and I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of them to share our philosophies. And our philosophies are going to be, we're going to be a team. In this day and age, there's a lot of individualism going on. But if you want to continue, you want to compete for championships, you need to be a great team. And that starts with you, the fan, the support. Each and every young lady that we bring in, they're going to have to be willing and able for sacrifices for each other, celebrating each other's successes. And to me, those are recipes for success. And those are things that we have done throughout my career, going to James Madison, building that program, going to Virginia Tech, building that program. We haven't done it with just one player or two players here or there. We've done it with the team concept, and that's something that we will definitely endure here at Kentucky. And in my opinion, it's the only way that it can get done in this day and age because it's very, very competitive. The SEC is the best women's basketball league in the country, and it just got stronger with the additions that we brought in. So I'm very, very excited to be with the leadership. I thank Mitch for this opportunity. He made it easy for me, and just being with him in a short time, I felt the connection. I felt, his passion for women's sports in general, but for the women's basketball program and where he wanted it to go. I thought our philosophies aligned, and it was something that had to be very, very special to me. President Capilouto, the opportunity for this is just magnificent, and I really appreciate it. Rachel, I thank you for bringing in the video to get all this ball rolling. But I'm excited. And, a lot of people want to ask, what your philosophy is going to be. Year to year, we're going to be a team. We're going to be a team that you can be proud of. The style of play changes year to year. What type of players do you have? What's going to be your strengths, your weaknesses? What are you going to work towards? And we will evolve every year so that we can stay competitive and go out there and win. We will have a winning attitude, and our expectations are to win. Obviously, I'm not going to disrespect the SEC and how powerful it is, and we know that we have to do a lot of work to get to that point. You can't just sprinkle magic dust on it and say, hey, we're going to win a national championship. A lot of work has to go into it, and we're willing to do that. And so I would not be here if I did not think that this is a wonderful opportunity, and this is an extremely wonderful opportunity not only for the program, but for me and my family. We're looking very forward to just being embraced by the community. I am a family man. It's very, very important to me that my family is good, my family is okay, because that's what we're going to spread throughout our program is family. And we're going to make sure that we go out and we represent it extremely well. So this is an honor for me. I'm extremely excited about the new possibilities and what we're going to be able to do. We're up for the challenge. We're up for the challenge. We know it's not going to be easy, but we need you. We need you, Big Blue Nation. We need your support, your passion in each and every way. I would ask for your opinions, but I'm sure you got a lot. You can send them to Mitch. and I'm sure to get to me somehow. But you are a big part of what we're going to do, and we look forward to embracing you. And I'm very, very excited about this opportunity. So thank you very much. Come out, yell. Please try to reach out to us. I think we're going to make you proud, and you're going to be proud to be a Wildcat.
Thanks, Coach Brooks. We'll open it up to Q&A. If you don't mind to raise your hand and we'll bring a mic to you. Please speak into that mic and state your name and your outlet. And we'll go ahead and start with, raise your hands. We'll start with Larry Bott. And then we'll go to Caroline next. Front row, black hat.
Coach, when you come to a situation like this, and you're talking about roster construction, does it start with evaluating who you've got? You talk to players where you've been, you talk to players who are committed to you, you make them talk to you. Just kind of walk me through how the process would be putting your roster together.
Well, I don't know if there's a blueprint for today's roster construction or reconstruction, however you want to call it. I'm looking forward to sitting down with the young ladies and just talk about a lot of different things, the expectations, what they're looking for, just getting to know them. I know a few of them. I recruited a couple of them. I competed against a couple of them. We played Kentucky, I think it was last year, in the Bahamas. So very, very familiar with what they do. And so just really just trying to align and see what their situations are. And I'm looking forward to that because I know there's a lot of potential there, and a lot of potential. And obviously, you know, this day and age right now, there's a lot of movement going on. You know, so I think it's very, very important that I sit in front of them and be able to talk to them very soon.
Coach Caroline McCaskis with the Lexington Herald Leader. Curious to hear your perspective on NIL, how you plan to work with it, utilize it, what kind of conversations you've had with the administration in order to remain competitive in a league that has passed two national champions.
What you say, we only had 30 minutes to talk? So obviously, NIL is something that's very, very important. And, you know, I've had discussions, preliminary discussions, and, you know, being able to express the importance of NIL. Obviously, this league is abundant with some teams with their NIL opportunities. And I think if you're going to be competitive, you have to be in that category. You have to be in the ballpark. I don't know if you have to be a leader in the ballpark, but you have to be in the ballpark. And that's something that I think is very, very important. It has burst onto the scene, you know, and it's kind of grown in the last couple of years. So trying to wrap your head around it, you know, I think we're going to have, you know, multiple discussions about that situation. But I think it's a necessity, I really do, to be able to compete in the best league in the country. And that's where we're going to need a lot of people's support in a lot of different ways. And I think that as we continue to educate ourselves on NIL and what it actually is, and not what it was perceived to be, you know, a few years ago, I think it's changed. And I think the importance of it is well documented now, and it's a necessity in order for you to be able to compete. So I'm looking forward to those conversations, but it is something that is at the high priority on our list.
Hello, Coach.
How are you?
With College Sportscast. Your former AD, Virginia Tech AD, had some very high praise on you about your player development. I was just wondering what set you apart for your player development?
You know, when I was talking to Mitch early in the process, I told him I will go out and I'll kiss babies, I'll shake hands, and I'll do whatever you need me to do, but where I want to be is here. And that's the most enjoyment that I get out of this, is to be in the gym with our young ladies. And it's been the cornerstone of every program that I've had. And everywhere we've been able to bring in young ladies who are willing and able to meet me halfway, you know, go above and beyond. And if so, you're going to be able to reach your goals through hard work. I've never coached a McDonald's All-American. And you know, this past year we had 2 AP All-Americans on our team this year, and it was through lots of hard work. We had a 3-time ACC Player of the Year, and I don't know if she was a top 50 recruit, and it's because of the hard work that she put in. And that's been the cornerstone of our program, is development. every coaching staff that I've had, we work tirelessly. And I don't think any time a kid is asked to come in the gym and work, we haven't been there. And that comes from the top. And it's not just my assistants who do it, I'm there. And when I'm able to get out there with the kids and work, I know I'm older now and I can only do half court stuff. All right, I can't get up and down the floor, but I think I'm a pretty good teacher of individual skills and their development. And so I'm down here with them, and it's not just a matter of, hey, I have an assistant coach out there doing the work. I'm there with them, and that helps build relationships. And I get to know them each and every day. And if you have kids, as long as you're around your children, they'll tell you anything you want to know. And so I think that really strengthens our relationships, our bond, our trust, and therefore when our kids go out, they play really hard. So that's been a staple, and it won't change. And I think that's the way that we can go out and compete. But also with the brand of Kentucky, I think you'll be able to recruit a higher level kid and to be able to take that and still build on it. And I think it's a recipe for success.
Hey, Coach. John Huang, NOLA Media. Welcome to Lexington.
Thank you.
First of all, how would you like us to address you?
King? No. Great. However you like. I mean, I've been known as Coach. If you say Coach Brooks, I'll turn around really, really quick. If you say Kenny, it might take a couple times to get me to go, but whatever you like.
All right, Coach Dawn Staley has said on several occasions that Kentucky was a wonderful landing spot. Great facilities, support, fan base, tradition, and yet it hasn't had a whole lot of success if you measure it in terms of Final Fours and championships. Why do you think that is the case?
I don't know. I don't know, and I know that there have been several coaches before me. Kyra, I have the utmost respect for her and the job that she did. She's a terrific person. I've always supported her. She's always supported me. Matthew Mitchell, I coached one game in Memorial, and it was against Kentucky, and it was in the WNIT, and I know they had, some success back then. I just know what it can be, and I'll agree with Dawn. And I think the city, everything that I hear, I'm really looking forward to seeing the city, because everything that I hear, it's a wonderful city, passionate fans, and just with the resources waiting to burst, where you can capitalize on it. Now, it's a very tough league, and I understand that, but I think that if we get in and we put in the work, the sky's the limit. No one thought we were going to go to the Final Four at Virginia Tech. The first year I was there, we were preseason 14th in the ACC. And I kind of stuck my foot in my mouth, I thought, and I said, if Syracuse can go to the Final Four, why can't we? And the whole place erupted, and I was like, uh-oh. But we got there. We got there with a lot of hard work and countless hours in the gym. And when people counted us out, I think this is a sleeping giant. It's a great opportunity, and if it weren't, I wouldn't be here. And so I'm looking forward to, getting in and hard work. I'm going to be knocking on everybody's door to just make sure that we get the support that we need, because if so, I think this can be a tremendous, tremendous opportunity.
Coach Oscar Woodall from Haywood Media and Radio Lex. You said you weren't looking for a job when you were a coach. So what was appealing to take this job? Was the competition in the SEC or something else?
Yeah, there were a number of reasons. Obviously, at Virginia Tech, being in Blacksburg, very, very comfortable. Just coming off of a Final Four appearance, ACC championship. We won the ACC regular season this year. I think we had 8 or 9 sellouts in a 9,000-seat arena, and that's living pretty well in women's basketball. And this situation came, and to be honest with you, the landscape of college athletics is changing. And with the leadership of the SEC and where it's going alongside with the Big Ten, you kind of want to align yourself to be able to compete at the highest level year in and year out. And so I looked into all those factors, and just everything that it presented, the resources to be able to go out and compete consistently. And I just thought that it was in my gut, it was the right move. I talked with my wife extensively about the situation, my family, because they're most important to me, and they were on board. And so I just thought it was a great opportunity. It's going to take something that's going to be extremely special for me to move, and I thought this was a great opportunity.
Dylan Ballard, Sea of Blue. Coach Brooks, we saw Coach Calipari posted that he met you in the hallway earlier. How was that conversation with him? You've talked about needing support from people. He said he would give you his in that area. How was that conversation? And then have you heard from any of the other coaches around the athletic department yet?
No, just briefly. I think I've met everybody but no one, because I haven't been able to keep it all in yet. I'm looking forward to coming around for round 2, and so I can get in depth. But obviously, Coach Cal, this is the first time that I've ever met Coach Cal. I used to be an assistant coach on the men's side for 10 years, and so I know Bruiser Flint extremely well. I know Orlando. I know those guys, so it's good catching up with them. But just the interaction with Cal, I'm going to lean on him, and we do have newspapers everywhere, Blacksburg, and I know there's been a lot going on with Coach Cal and that situation, but he's one of the best in the country, and I'm looking forward to picking his brain anything and everything about Kentucky basketball. Because when we talk Kentucky basketball, it's an umbrella that you want to be under. It's a brand, and I'm looking forward to capitalizing on it. And in any sport that we're successful in here at Kentucky, you want to piggyback off of that, because just great exposure. So I'm looking forward to that. But Coach Cal, it was a brief discussion, introduction, and I'm looking forward to picking his brain more.
Coach Tonya Witt, Rise Up Sports Media, you built a really strong fan base for women's basketball at Virginia Tech. What's your first order of business to do that, to build a strong fan base for women's basketball at Kentucky? Well, obviously, constructing, the rest of the roster, and just bringing in young ladies who believe Kentucky Wildcat basketball. I think you have to understand what you're representing, and representing the name on the front. And when you can do that, the pride will seek out, and everyone will be attracted to that. And we're looking forward to that. And you have to get, great players to make a great team. But I think you have to champion for the cause. And when I was at Virginia Tech, every chance I got, I was talking about the opportunities that they deserved. I'm a father of 3 daughters, and I've often said, being a father of 3 daughters, I wonder if it's made me a pretty good women's basketball coach, or being a women's basketball coach has made me a pretty good father of 3 daughters. Either way, it goes hand in hand. And, I understand them, I respect them. I want to tool them so they can be ready to take over, because I've often said, I've coached on the boys' side, I've coached on the girls' side, and girls are smarter. and I've had opportunities to go back. I've had overtures to go back on the men's side, and I didn't want to, because I think this game is special. And for any of the internet trolls who want to say women's basketball is not as exciting, you're not watching the right games. And so I'm looking forward to continuing that here, because that is a cause of mine. I want them to really have every opportunity that they can, just like their counterparts. And we preached it, we talked it, we lived it, we ate, we slept it at Virginia Tech, and as a result, we were selling out buildings with passionate crowds, and the girls were able to reap the benefits and get the things that they deserved.
Ryan Black with the Louisville Courier-Journal. Kenny, you mentioned in your opening statement that you're not locked into one style, offensively or defensively, that you would evolve based on personnel. Have you always been that flexible, or has this kind of been forced upon you because of just the unbelievable roster movement with transfer portal?
No, I've always been that way. One of the very first players that I coached was named Tamara Young, and she was a 6'2" wing who ended up being, from James Madison, being the 7th pick in the draft. And then from there, I went to a young lady named Dawn Evans, who was a point guard. She was a 5'6", nothing, but averaged 26 points a game. I go to Virginia Tech, and my first year, we don't have a center, and playing in the ACC, we had to play small ball. And then I recruit a 6'6" center who becomes an All-American, so that obviously we're going to throw the ball inside, every chance we get. And so it just evolves, and I think you have to evolve as a coach. And now I think that I'll be able to select the type of player more frequently that I want, and not have to just surprisingly get one. And so then you have more consistency. But I'd be a fool if I had a 6'6" All-American and we were still jacking up threes the only way we were going to play. Or if we were playing small ball and I try to throw the ball inside every time. So it's just an evolution of your roster and what you're going to do. But that keeps you on your toes. But obviously in this landscape right now with ever-changing rosters, you do have to be ready and flexible to move that way.
Kenny Mark's story from the Lexington Herald Leader. So Whit Babcock told the media in Virginia you were really excited about the renovated Memorial Coliseum. How excited are you, and what kind of impact is that going to have on this program?
I'm not sure I would be here if it weren't, because in this day and age, it matters. It really does. It's an arms race sometimes, for the facilities, and you have to have something really nice to be able to lure them in. But I'm a firm believer it's not necessarily, the building, it's what's in the building. But we need to be able to attract it. And I kind of equate it, I use the analogy that when you go to buy a home and you walk into the new home, you're looking at every nook and cranny. You're looking at, do they have crown molding? What's the hardwood? Is a carpet? But after a month, you don't even recognize that crown molding anymore. And what's inside the building is your family. And what memories are you creating? And that's something that we'll always continue to stress. It's not the building, it's what's in the building. And we want to put in a situation where these young ladies are going to be able to come, and it's not just about basketball, it's about life. We are educators. And I know sometimes the business part of it gets, makes it a little foggy, but it is my responsibility to educate these student athletes so that they can go on, because what they're doing right now, they're preparing these 4 years, some who have 5, for the next 40, 50 years of their life. And what they determine here and how they get their work ethic is going to carry over to how they live the next 40 or 50 years of their life. So that's the most important thing. But it was important for me to have something to be able to attract that type of a player in here.
Coach, you've had some great assistants over the years, namely Sean Poppy, new opportunity to speak as well. When it comes to the types of people you look for when building your staff, the people you want around you, you kind of talk us to what you prioritize.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've had 9 assistant coaches go on to be head coaches. And that's something that's very, very impressive to me, just because we want to recruit. And when you go out and you're trying to recruit players, you want people who are going to represent your program and make you proud. Coaching is the same thing. You want to get people in who are willing to sacrifice for the team, and they got 10 toes down. They're not worried about, okay, hey, I'm trying to get a job. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to abide by the philosophy and spread that philosophy throughout. We're going to live it, so that I'm not going to be around all the time, but to have trustworthy assistants who are going to really share the same message. I think that's extremely important. But it was a really cool moment on the ticker the other night. Sean Poppy was my assistant coach for 4 years at Virginia Tech. He's now the head coach at Clemson. And back to back, it says Kenny Brooks, head coach at Kentucky. And then the next one says Sean Poppy, the head coach at Clemson. And announced on the same day. So that's a pretty cool moment. But I've always had great people around me who share the same philosophies. They spread it with the same message, and that's how we've had that success with people going on. And I think that has trickled down to the success of our programs throughout my tenure.
You mentioned academics, and not only did you mention it first. That guy sitting beside you feels real strongly about that. Did he make you say that?
No, he did not. No, he did not.
How do you feel academics fits in to the world of college basketball now?
Well, my wife, who sits there, is an educator. She's a teacher. So when we watch Jeopardy, she kicks my butt in Jeopardy, unless the sports part comes on. And but at Virginia Tech, it was something that was extremely important to me. And I think our last 4 or 5 semesters, our kids had I think an average of a 3.6 GPA. And I think a lot of it has to do that when we recruit young ladies, we stress that. That's something that's going to be very important to us, because again, you're equipping yourself with tools right now, and you have to get your degree. And it's not just the actual GPA. All right, we want you to really go and press yourself so that you can be great. If you're a 2.8 student, we want you to work harder so that you're a 3.3 student, and therefore that's a work ethic that you're developing. And so we're very, very serious about it. We talk about it. We have meetings constantly about it, and no one's just going to slip by, because I think that's really a weapon that you're going to take with you out into the world you're developing, and so it's extremely important to us.
So you played for the Hall of Fame coach,
I did.
Lefty Giselle. And I was just wondering, is there anything about your coaching style or that you have taken from Lefty's coaching abilities?
Almost everything except for his demeanor. He was a stomper. And I remember when I first started playing for Lefty, he would call me and he would say, "Kenny," and he would do like this. And I would run over there, and in front of 6,000 people, he would rip me for about 3 or 4, 5, 10 seconds, about like a minute. And probably about midway through the year, he was stomping and he would call me over, and I was ignoring him. And my teammates would go, "Coach is calling you." I say, "I hear him." But I'm not going over there. But seriously, that man did so much for me. He did so much for me. Gave me my first job coaching. My interview went just like this. He said, called me, he says, "Kenny, you want to coach?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Be here Monday." So that was my first interview. And I got there, and I learned so much about the game within the game. When I played for him, I thought he was crazy. I really did. And I didn't know what he was doing to me. And then I learned he wasn't doing anything to me. He was doing it for me. He taught me how to be a man. He taught me how to be a husband. He taught me how to be a father. He taught me how that you incorporated that all into a program to be successful. Because he had his wife, who he loved dearly. His family was always around. And as I started to become a head coach, I wanted my family around. And so many people told me, "You can't have your family around as much. They're a distraction." And I watched him do it. I watched him hug on his wife, kiss on his wife. I saw him bring his family into everything. And that's what I've been able to take away the most from that. And he was special. I love him. He passed away not too long ago. And it really hurt, but it made me recollect on what he meant to me. And I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for him. I wouldn't have the style today if it weren't for him. And I owe him so much. And I was able to tell him that before he passed. And after we went to the Final Four, he called me and he was so proud. And when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, he had a situation, and he said, he was going and he was killing it. He had the whole place laughing, and he said, "I have 2 former players who are now head coaches." And then he paused, and I was like, he's about to say my name. He's about to say my name on the biggest stand in basketball, and he didn't. And then I called him, a week or 2 later, and I congratulated him. And he said, "Kenny," he said, "I meant to say your name in my speech, but I forgot." And I said, "You know what, Coach? I knew who you were talking about. That's all it meant." And so forever, indebted to that man and what he did for me. And I have 2 pictures in my office that I will bring here. One was a picture of me and him, and one was just a letter. It was so simple after the Final Four, and he said, "Great job."
We've got time for 1 or 2 more. We'll start with Gary.
Okay. Coach, can you talk a little bit about your philosophy on in-state recruiting? There's a pretty potent junior class here in Kentucky right now that maybe doesn't have Kentucky on their final list right now. How do you kind of approach in-state recruiting?
Like I said, when you think about Kentucky, you think about basketball. And we definitely understand the importance of keeping in-state players at home, but we also understand the importance of fit. And so we'll look at all of it and make sure that it's going to be a great fit, because sometimes situations, like some kids just want to get away. We've encountered that in the state of Virginia, where we've recruited, and we want to make sure everything's going to be a good fit. But we know it's a rich country with basketball, and we definitely are aware of the young ladies. We've actually been recruiting some of the young ladies to the point we've had conversations. So we understand the importance of it, and it's going to be a priority for us. But it's also going to be very important that we make sure everything is a really good fit for our program.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Mitch Barnhart. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you guys very much. I look forward to seeing all of you out.
That was a great press conference. I didn't have to do anything.